Hello and welcome to episode 4 of The Remedy of Poetry, the podcast where we talk about poetry and use poetry to move energies through our body, to heal, to go inside, and to receive the gift of poetry deep within our soul. I'm so happy that you're here, tuning in, watching, and let's dive right in. I hope the sound is okay today because I'm recording from another room and the echo is quite loud. So, apologies for that. Um, and we will explore another poem of the book Limitless, Sharing the Word or the World Through Love's Eyes. And the poem I flipped open today is called Life is Your Song. And it is very fitting for me, that topic, because lately the past days have been a lot around sharing my truth, sharing my voice. Life has somehow guided me to write more, and um, this is what I will focus on a lot during the next months. So I'm very excited about that. And at the same time, it's very challenging because, not only as a recovering people pleaser, I think it's not easy to really share our authentic self because we're so used to feel unsafe to do that. But also in our need to belong and to be accepted, it is very easy to kind of fall into that place again where we conform and where we adapt because the illusion of connection is there. But let's dive into the poem. So I invite you to focus on the words, to take a deep breath and breathe out. And wherever you are, wherever you're listening, just focus on the words. Unless you're driving, then focus on the road, please, and let the words wash over you. Life is your song. Don't let the band be louder than your voice. You are the lead singer in your own life. Don't let the love song to your soul become a eulogy, for you are the creator of words and melody. Don't let the soothing sound of your steady breath be smothered and silenced in your ego's cries for attention. You are the creator of your very own song. You decide whether it is short or long. You decide the rhythm, words, and melody. You decide. Sing your song. Be brave. Sing loud. Be free. And I wrote this poem, I think, during COVID lockdown somehow, when I started to really find my voice again. And it's funny that just now that I'm recording that, my voice, actually my throat chakra is a little bit scratchy today. And yeah, what does it mean to sing our own song? First of all, there's several layers, in my opinion, because on one hand, we have sharing our voice and speaking loud, speaking up, sharing what we truly think. And on the other hand, it's creating, right? If we want to sing our own song, we need to create this song first. Or we're making it up on the go, then it's an improvised song, but it's still our own song. So I feel like as we as humans, I think it's a natural way we learn by imitation, right? Children pick up what adults do and they imitate. And then during the teenage years or later, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if you are in the in midst of the garden of growth with your kids, you can let me know. I don't know which age it is. And I think maybe that differs for everyone as well. But at some point, children start to want to do their own stuff. And I think what I observe in nowadays children, they start way earlier to want to do their own stuff. They want to do it myself. Like, I can't do that myself. I hear that very often from the children around me. So we kind of go from imitation to creation. And I feel that in order to do that, we need to be confident enough to kind of leave the well-trodden path and know that we still belong. And I think the biggest gift that we can give someone, our children, but also our friends, our family, is to acknowledge their own path. And however that path looks like, and it's not easy when we see someone suffering or when we see someone struggling, you initially want to help, we want to step in, but sometimes it helps people more to acknowledge their path and to just trust that they will find their own song and that they are even on the way of creating their own song. Because what happens when we step in and help, we're kind of guiding them towards our song, right? So it's kind of a balance. So it's very interesting to look at that. So let us dive a little bit deeper. The first lines: "Don't let the band be louder than your voice. You are the lead singer in your own life." And for me, the band here represents or can represent a lot of things. So it it could be our family, our friends, it could be the noise around us, it could be even labels that we are inheriting. It could be the label of our job, it could be the label of sister, brother, mother, whatever. So I think the band is kind of supposed to be the surrounding, and who's singing that song is another very good question. Who is actually that singer? It's not our ego that sings, it is our soul that sings. And it's the you can't even feel that when we're trying to sing, and we're trying to sing from with and at the same time judge our voice or feel not sure. You can hear it in the voice as opposed to a very confident, free, letting it flow. Plus, the voice and singing is connected to breath. So if we want to sing our own song, we need to breathe on our own. And I've just did a source breathwork workshop, which was very interesting for me. And it was all connecting back things and unsafety issues with our body to the birth. And I realized that during that workshop, I felt at some point like I didn't want to breathe on my own. I wanted someone else to do it because I was so exhausted. I felt exhausted during that meditation. That's what came to me, and I realized that oftentimes I think when we're exhausted in life, we want someone else to step in and we want someone else to do stuff for us because we feel so exhausted. That can, no matter if it's because we work too much or if we are overwhelmed with choices or if we are overwhelmed with people. But in these moments, that's when we are looking outside the most, in my opinion. That when we are looking outside for help and we want other people to just carry the weight or do it for us. And I feel like this is a very sensitive moment, and it's a moment where we can grow, but where we can also fall into numbing and into the background noise becoming louder than our voice. Because if we don't dare to breathe on our own, we cannot sing our song, right? So in the end, we need to take care of ourselves and we need to be there for us. And while we might have a feeling that we're not capable because as a child we were not, we're now in our adult bodies and we can. And yes, we don't have to do it all alone. But I think when we reach out for help, we need to be very aware that we have to do our own part as well if we want it to be our own song. So the next one is, don't let the love song to your soul become a eulogy, for you are the creator of words and melody. And that has several meanings for me. So first of all, eulogy is sung at a funeral, if I remember that correctly. And we're often kind of focused on the things that we are lacking, that are not in our lives anymore. And yeah, the lines, don't let the love song to your soul, the love song to your soul. I find that very interesting. Sometimes my poetry teaches me, even years after, I just realized it's the love song to your soul. So that means it's the universe's love towards us. So we want it to be a celebration. We want it to help us create and not restrict us. And then the next part, don't let the soothing sound of your steady breath be smothered and silenced in your ego's cries for attention. And oh my God, did I feel that the past few days? Yes, very loud. Because every time things shift for me, my ego gets really loud and noisy. And although I have been there several times now, I realized that mostly afterwards that, oh yeah, okay, my ego was acting out. And when we are in the middle of it, it's sometimes hard to see, right? It's like all the noises in that song kind of melt together. Sorry. Interesting. The voice. And I also find it interesting right now, think about it, that voice and choice is rhyming. And also, our voice is unique. Nobody else has the voice that you have. We can imitate it. It can be similar, but it's like a fingerprint. Our voice is like a fingerprint. And when we share our truth, we're leaving fingerprints in the canvas of life. And we're making an impact just by sharing our true, authentic self and our voice. So the ego wants to keep us safe. So the ego will react with fear when we share our voice. All the fears will come up. And I feel like, especially around speaking our truth, we have a lot of historical fears. We have a lot of past life fears. Like in former times, we were not allowed to say out loud what we think. And then even depending on the region where you come from, it might have even be harder. And even today, there are regions where it's really hard to share your truth. And um, to speak out when there is a chance that you might end up on your own is very brave. And I feel, for me personally, I realized that I have to be brave in that moment for me, because every time I don't speak out and every time I don't speak my own truth, I, what's that word? I betray myself. Every time I don't speak out, I betray myself, because it's like me being a friend to myself and not having my own back. So I feel like we owe it to ourselves to speak our truth and to be authentic. You're the creator of your very own song. You decide whether it is short or long. You decide the rhythm, words, and melody. Rhythm, for me, stands for the pace of life. We can decide whether we want to rush through life, whether we want to have it slow, and there's no judgment in the preferences. And I think even throughout our lives, we have different preferences. I think it changes. Like when I was younger, I wanted a quicker change. I wanted more, see more, experience more. As I get older, I feel like, I want to slow down. And I think that is natural. And but it can also be the other way around. There's no right or wrong in that. And so creating our own rhythm, and even according to our own bodily rhythm, to our preference, like to our cycles, the cycles of the moon, the nature, to the rhythm of nature, all this is forming and creating the rhythm of our life. And then words, we can choose our words. However, words are often cloaked in layers and layers and layers of meaning. And sometimes the meaning is not even the meaning that we are have for ourselves for that word. So the meaning of naive comes from native. So it's natural. It's close to our intuition, close to us. The meaning of weird means actually enchanted and magical. So there's so many layers to words, and we yeah, and we still can choose our words, and that is the most powerful thing. I think the most powerful tool that we have as humans is our word, is to express ourselves through our word. I think we can truly make an impact through our words. Words are energy and spells. That's why it's called spelling. So we can choose our words wisely, and we can direct our words and to talk kindly and to use positive words, to be nonviolent in our communication is really helpful and helps us to create. And if you think about it, when you are in a fight, you react. The words are completely different that we use than the words that we use when we are creating. Yeah. And then the melody. Oh, the melody for me is energy. The melody for me is the soul vibrating and emitting the love that we are. So the melody is the sacredness of our lives. And we decide that in a way because we decide how much we let it through us. So yeah, sing your song, be brave, sing loud, be free, be brave. It is brave to sing our own song. I have been on stage for years performing things that already existed. And although I altered them, although I was kind of nervous, if everything works out, stuff like that, it was different than if I share my poetry, for example, because it's me. And it's like, and there's always this vulnerability, but that is the most precious thing we can give each other, is our vulnerable self. And I know in this world it's very scary to be vulnerable, but we have to be brave and try. Because as soon as we guard ourselves, we close our own heart, and then we cannot feel as deeply, and then we will feel alone, and then we will actually end up alone. So the fear that we end up alone or judged, or that people will draw back if we really share our authentic truth, is actually a myth, because it's an illusion, because it's the opposite, it's the other way around. Because when we don't share our truth, we abandon ourselves. So then we have the illusion of belonging, because we feel like, okay, we have something in common with the other people. But in the end, true belonging happens inside. Okay. I invite you to journal on that. We have a few questions here. So this is a hard one, though. This is a deep one. I completely understand if it's too much, then just let it go. And I invite you to ponder these questions with curiosity and not self judgment. The question is, are you living the life you truly want, or are you living someone else's dreams? I know that's a very in your face question. What would have to change in order for it to be your dream? And then I can only speak for myself. For a very long time, I have thought I lived my dream, or I thought it's my life somehow that I'm doing, creating. And then I realized, no, I'm very much attached to so many things outside of me that I needed to go really deep inside to find who I, who I really am. It's a big, big thing. If you need help with that, please reach out. I'm there for you. And but it's also a very beautiful journey. Then the next question is, how easy is it for you to speak up and say what you want to say? And just journal on that. And let it be. Just no judgment. It's just like, okay, just notice it. When do you not speak when you would normally speak? And yeah. Then we have, how can you support yourself when you dare to speak up? How can you support yourself? Are there any methods, any possibilities? Maybe you have a friend who's with you when you speak up, or maybe you have a prayer that you say before. Maybe you connect to your heart before. Maybe you remind yourself that you are source energy. And then I think there's another question, but this question is more interesting. How do a fear of judgment and a fear of speaking up correlate? How do a fear of judgment and a fear of speaking up correlate? So, are you not speaking up because you're afraid to be judged? Or are you not speaking up because of other things? Because maybe you have just learned not to speak. Or maybe you feel like you have no right to do this, or you have no right to take the room. Yeah, just explore that and have fun, dive deep, and feel free to reach out. Feel free to get support in these deeper questions. And if you feel like you don't want to deal with it, that's okay too. And yeah, it's very interesting because I'm noticing in me right now that this is I feel that this could be a very heavy topic for a lot of people. And this is now evoking a little fear in me that that it's too deep and that it's too challenging now, that I'm challenging too much now. Very interesting. That is my fear of my voice now. So, but I think there's a very big hidden gift when we are being honest to ourselves, and waking up is sometimes very disturbing and scary. But what follows, and I can promise you that, is freedom. And yeah, just know, be kind to yourself, tend to your heart, go slow, and feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.